Hey guys, Brian from Brian Boas here. The 2024 baby boa birthing season is really kicking into high gear. It's been a really busy year so far. As you probably have noticed, I haven't had much time to make videos lately. Been so busy with the snakes and everything else. We're not even to the end of April and I have 3 litters on the ground. Really happy about that. This is probably my best start to a breeding season that I've ever had. If you've been following the channel, you know that I welcomed first a litter of Pearl Island Boas, then some beautiful Honduran fire bellies, and my latest litter was a IMG Boon Glow litter, which just arrived. So really happy with these litters, but I have quite a few females that appear gravid, so I'm expecting a lot of excitement over the next few months. Today I just wanted to show you a few of my gravid females and say a little bit about what I'm expecting. So I'm getting a lot of questions, people interested in snakes and what I'm going to have, and unfortunately I can never guarantee anything until the babies are born. You know, the litter could always go south or the female could slug out. You know, that being said, it is looking quite promising for quite a few different types of boas. So first of all, red tails. I've got probably several gravid Surinams right now from different bloodlines, some real beautiful animals. I also potentially have a gravid Peruvian, Pucallpa Peruvian. I'm not 100% sure. Peruvians are always more hit or miss than Surinams, but keeping my fingers crossed. I don't think I'm going to get any Iquitos Peruvians. This is the 3rd year in a row that I apparently have struck out on the Iquitos Peruvians, so not sure. I guess these guys are just, they don't want to breed for some reason. So the other area where I have a lot going on, the dwarf boas. So I've got potentially a gravid female Tarahumara Mexican dwarf boas, as well as crawl key boas and cocker key boas. I know the cocker key are a little harder to find than the crawl key, but hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll have my second litter of these guys this year. The first one was just 2 years ago. Moving on, we've got potentially some more Argentines, like this guy. This is a Max Pink Argentine, so he was a first-time dad last year and looks like he may have done the job again, so way to go. This is a stud boa, beautiful Argentine Max Pink boa. Also potentially some Longicatas, you know, the other really dark boa. Although I'd say that these guys, the Tarahumara and the Longicata, are kind of the trifecta of really dark locality boas. But hopefully we'll have these beautiful Longtail Boas. And then more. So I've got a few more females that appear gravid, including some Morans, potentially super Morans, and some VPI T positive albino combos. So a lot of really cool stuff going on. You know, so I expect litters to be born probably in the next couple of weeks. I have quite a few females due in May based on their post-ovulation shed. And then some later on in the summer, maybe June, July. At this point, probably not August, but we'll have to see. Still actually have a few pairs together, believe it or not. I haven't quite given up on them yet. Fingers crossed on some of them. Although at this point in the season, it's pretty unlikely that I'm going to have any babies, but we'll just have to see. So with that in mind, I'm going to take out my close-up lens and we'll get a look at some of my gravid females. First off, here is a female Suriname red tail, which I'm pretty much positive is gravid. You can see how big she looks, and she's displaying all the classic behaviors of a gravid female. She just lies over the hot spot, coiled up, doesn't move very much. I actually moved her hide away, but she hasn't really moved since I did that. Typically a gravid female has this kind of far off look in their eyes. They look like they're kind of in a different space, like they're concentrating on the task at hand, and typically they're not really paying that much attention to the keeper. You can also see that she's kind of darker overall in color, especially her tail, and I know that because I know this boa. The conditions in the room are a little bit dark. I don't want to put any bright lights on her or disturb her, but just take my word for it, she's kind of a little bit darker than normal. So good signs on this female that she's gravid. Basically right now I just check on my gravid females every day or two, check the temperatures, make sure everything's okay, but I try to disturb them as little as absolutely possible. Here's another gravid female that I have big hopes for. This is an Argentine Boa. You can see how big she looks. This will be her first time litter for this one. Beautiful animal, beautiful black and white colors. Really love this one. And I had a litter of Argentines last year after about 7 years, I think, between the last one. So really be psyched if I get a litter this year too. But we'll just have to see. But she's definitely showing all the signs, and like the Suriname I just showed you, she just kind of sits here over the hot spot, doesn't move around much. So I'm just checking on her, checking the temperatures and making sure she's comfortable. Here's another Gravid Dwarf Boa. This is a Longtail or Longicata Boa. And you can see this female is showing basically the same behavior as the other gravid ones, just lying there coiled up, not moving very much. And look how swollen that abdomen is. So hopefully lots of nice babies developing in there. Hopefully no slugs or very few slugs. You can see that I moved her hiding place is to her right, or to the right of the screen, or I'm sorry, to the left of the screen, and not doing too much. So you can see this female's on newspaper. A lot of people ask me about the substrates for gravid females. Usually, you know, they'll be on the cocoa husk, and if the cocoa husk is still fresh, I just leave that in there. But if I change it up, particularly I'll put them onto newspaper because it transfers the heat a little better than the cocoa husk, and it also is a little bit cleaner to clean up after the babies are born. Sometimes the cocoa husk gets all stuck up in there in the afterbirth, and the newspaper makes it a little easier. And the females seem to not really mind either. They just kind of lie there, to be honest, not doing too much. So she's on newspaper. But hopefully sometime this summer we'll have some nice little baby Longicata. So we saw an Argentine and a Longtail Boa, so I thought I would show you the third of the trifecta of really dark locality boas. This is a Terim Mountain Boa, and she appears gravid. She's actually right now just kind of hanging out of her hide box. Sometimes they do move off of the hot spot, so she's kind of in the middle of the cage where the temperatures are kind of not quite as warm. Typically my hot spots are about 88, 89 degrees, and the middle of the cage is probably mid 80s. But I always am fiddling with my thermostats, just keeping them in that range. I don't know how critical it is, to be honest. A lot of people have asked me how precise do the temperatures have to be. My thinking is that probably if they're between 85 and 90, you're probably okay. You don't want to go above 90. You can lead to deformities in the offspring. Below 85 is going to mean it's going to be a longer time for delivery, and you're probably going to have more slugs or stillborns. But I don't have any hard evidence on that. I just keep my hot spot around 88 or so, and it seems to be doing quite well. So hopefully some Terim Mountain Dwarf Boas later this year. Thought I'd show you one gravid female morph boa. This is a call junglo, who I bred to a call sunglow. So hopefully we should have lots of nice sunglows and junglows later this year. She actually left the hot spot. She's actually on the cool end now, just kind of chilling. And they do that sometimes. Sometimes people freak out. Oh, my boa is no longer on the hot spot. Is she gravid? But they do that. Okay, so don't try to read into it too much. Their everyday behavior. Just keep that hot spot at 88 degrees or so. Give them plenty of fresh water. Make sure the cool side is around 78, and you should be good as far as the incubation temperatures of the litter. Also, as I mentioned, you want to not touch the animals or move them unless absolutely necessary. You don't want to disturb them. It could lead to premature birth. I do feed my animals, my gravid females, until about a month and a half before their due date. and this has worked well for me. Most of them will eat, and by feeding them, they're not like skin and bones when the babies are born, so they recover faster. Anyway, hopefully we should have some nice morph boas later this year. One more Gravid Dwarf Boa here. This is a Cocker Key Dwarf Boa, and really psyched to be having potentially another litter of these guys. These guys are a little bit harder to find than some of the other dwarf boas like the Terim or Qual Key. They're similar overall to the Qual Key, but also distinctly different, and they're a really cool animal to keep. And the female, you can see, is looking pretty similar to all the other Gravid females, just lying here coiled over the hot spot, not moving much with this swollen abdomen. So fingers crossed we'll have some baby Cocker Keys probably sometime around July. So stay tuned to the channel for announcements and on this and all my other litters that are going to be born in the months ahead. So those were a few Gravid females. I hope I didn't jinx myself by filming them, but with any luck we should have some babies from most or all of them in the next few months. And so a lot of people asking me about waiting lists and my sales terms. I don't do waiting lists, at least not formal waiting lists. And I've gone over why I don't do that in previous videos. But you're always welcome to reach out to me by email, let me know what you're looking for, check in on when something might be available. And then as always, I try whenever possible to make videos of my new litters, showing you the babies, typically the day or within a few days of their birth, and then I announce how they're doing and when they're going to be available. I will post pictures of animals on my Flickr site. The link to my Flickr site is below the video description, but when they become available they'll go up on my Flickr site and you can see them there along with information about them. But if you have just general questions, sometimes I do have general ideas about things, you can send me an email at my email address is below the video description. You can message me on Facebook, although it's always better to email me. And a lot of people asking me about price. Typically I don't have a price that's set until I'm ready to sell. So if you ask me the price, I might have kind of a ballpark idea, but typically I price my animals right in the middle of the market price. So you can look on Morph Market or some of the online classifieds, get an idea of what, say, Argentine Boa is selling for, and my price will probably be about the same. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. As always, shoot me any questions or comments. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your boas.